past Main Street, basically for our engineer. I have noticed that after roads get paved, that there's something that they have to dig up underneath, and they have to fix it, and then there's a detour around it. There was one this past week on Main Street near Fleet, and I don't know how 2 cars could get through. That's how narrow the road became. And many times afterwards, after everything is paved over, patched up, and everything, it's like a sinkhole wherever the manhole is or the drains. Isn't there a study done beforehand as to what is underneath the ground before paving it? And then after it's paved, you have to start digging it up all over again. It's like a waste of taxpayer money.
So if you're talking about if the road's paved, Cheryl, and then the utility has to come in and open that road up and do work?
Right, in other words...
So is it 3 or 5 years, Bruce?
We have a 3-year moratorium, as I recall.
So if the township paves a road and a utility company has to come in and open that road up within 3 years of us paving it, they have to repave the whole road?
And it costs the utility?
Yes.
And it doesn't go back to us at all?
No.
Okay.
Actually, if I may,
These are utility pipe breaks on the ground, and they have no choice but to open the ground back up.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, that it's like you pave the road, nobody studied that there's an old pipe underneath that's going to break any...
There's old pipes under every road in this town.
Yeah.
How would you, I agree with what you're saying, but how would you ever know?
Maybe if you did a study of the infrastructure maps, you know, you would have a better idea of which ones have been replaced and which ones are subject to damage, to breaking down.
How do you predict something? How do you predict what's going to go bad?
You're an engineer. You're, you know.
Bruce, go ahead.
I'll offer a couple
Yeah.
of different. First
Yeah.
of all, the moratorium for a private individual, let's say somebody wanted to build a house or do something, the moratorium holds for the 3 years. If there's an emergency break in a gas main, the gas company comes in and has every right. I've had roads that haven't even cooled off yet and a gas main has broken and they had to do the repair. It's not common, but it does happen. Along Main Street, that is a county road. The county sets the standard and the schedule for when that gets done. And during the week I saw, or last week I saw the break, and looking at where they were working, I'm going to guess it was a water main break. It's not predictable, and when that happens, they have no choice but to do that repair, even if it was shortly after the work. They just have to call the county and say we have an emergency. So the borough had in the past looked at doing roads only where the cleaning and lining was done, but even that doesn't prevent breaks. The cast iron mains are just old and brittle, and at times they will fail. Depends upon temperature and a variety of things, but they do fail. You don't have a choice but to take care of them on an emergency basis, and then they're left to settle a little bit before paved so that they don't continue to sink or they don't sink as much.
And to piggyback on Bruce's
Yeah.
comment about the 3-year moratorium, I had spoken to Bruce, sorry, I keep pointing in front of you, about possibly making that a longer period of time. The problem doing that is if I'm a resident or a new person moving into town and I bought a piece of property and the road in front of my house, if we make it 10 years, now as the resident, I'm responsible for repaving that whole street.
But
So that's why you have to find that happy medium with how many years that
the
should
reason
be.
we talked about that is because one example of that is where the gas company comes through. If there's a moratorium, they repave curb to curb. So if the road's under a moratorium for 3 years that we did the work, and they come through, then they have to mill and overlay from curb to curb, the gas company. That's their program.
Why do we wind up with so many sinkholes? There's, you know, a lot of
Most of
times.
our property around here is sand, and sand gets displaced rather easily with water leaks. And that's what happens, right? It creates, if the water moves the sand, it creates a void on the asphalt, and boom, it goes down. We just had one recently. Where was that? We just had that one on the street.
Right across the street from the firehouse.
Yeah, they walked away from it. The people that were working it walked away from it because it was such a nuisance of a project.
And a lot of times, if I
It gets a little worse than that, because like Manalapan Road is a county road, and Summer Hill, when they develop a water leak, like we do have our water main breaks in the winter, it's accidental, nobody's gonna have to break that water. Well, not only do we have to fix that break right away to the grade the county specifies, they fine us. They fine us because the water main broke. So on top of having to fix it the exact way they want, exactly when they want, they hit us with a fine every time a water main breaks. There's a no-win situation. But to stop sinkholes, virtually impossible around here. It's just, this place is nothing but sand. I mean, we all know this. Everybody here, the property is sand. You get termite and ant problems beyond belief. But it's just a beast. We all wish we had X-ray vision, could find that problem, but we don't.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Diane Charlesworth, Stage Road. I'm just wondering what the status is on the investigation.
I've been in contact with the attorney, and I was informed that I should have the report, the council should have the report by the end of the week.
End of this week,
That, when we should get the report.
okay? And then when do we hear what it is?
After we all get an opportunity to look into it and speak to our attorneys, I'm sure you guys will know.
Okay, so by next council meeting, perchance.
I can't say 100%. but
Is it in the realm of possibility?
I would like to have answers for you by then, yes.
Thank you. Yeesh.
I mean, don't hurt yourself, guys.
So tomorrow night, there's a planning board meeting, which I would really like to go to because they're talking about a Gillette subdivision, from what I understand. But I can't because there's a board meeting. And you know, the board collects $5,000 out of my pocket every year, so I'd rather go to that meeting. So I am again asking that the planning board meetings get moved to a Wednesday or a Thursday, whatever, or opposite Tuesdays of the board meetings, because residents should have the ability to go to every meeting, every important meeting in town that they want to go to and not have to pick and choose meetings. I think it would be important. And considering that nobody goes to planning board meetings, I'm sure they would love the audience. But I'd be happy to provide.
I just have one question. Because you ask us all the time. I've heard you ask this question probably 3 times now. Have you ever asked the board to move their meeting?
I would not ask them because the planning board cancels most of their meetings. So it doesn't make any sense for the Board of Ed to move their meetings.
That's fair enough.
I think this year the planning board has actually only had 2 meetings.
Yeah, we have one tomorrow.
Yeah. So like why is the organization that's having a meeting twice a month on schedule every month have to move when the other organization
Just
is
asked your question.
missing? So that's why, because it makes more sense.
Can we
So,
look into that?
I absolutely can. I just have to talk, I believe, to Mr. Keneally and them and make sure that their arrangements can move to a different day of the week. I don't see why we can't try and do it.
yeah, or even just, you know, the opposite Tuesdays, you know, the first, we're on the first and third, second and fourth, I mean, you know,
Kind of like the sound of Wednesday.
yeah, or Wednesday is fine too. Wednesday would work really well, thank you. And the second thing, back in January, February, don't you feel bad for him? Back in, I think, January, February, I had asked that the council spearhead the creation of a Chamber of Commerce to get the businesses together in town. Nothing's happened, so I'm going to ask again. I really think there needs to be a Chamber of Commerce. I think there needs to be an organization in town that is here to look at the businesses, look to see what properties we have, look to see how we can improve the town with the rateables, bring new rateables in, new businesses in. It's, you know, I don't need another pizza parlor.
Or a nail salon.
Or a nail salon. I'm good with those. But, you know, we have empty stores. There's got to be something to put in there. But unless somebody's actively looking and actively pushing, nothing's going to get done. And I think it's important. And also to improve the image of the town for businesses. So we can all make more money.
So Mr. Mayor has a comment?
Mr. Council President,
Yes, sir.
I would suggest us reaching out to Dave, the manager of,
PCB.
no, the bank on the corner of DeVoe and
Oh,
Carney Bank, because he does have something that's similar to that already. a business, a local business meeting where he invites all the businesses, so maybe we can incorporate it into being a chamber of commerce, because all the businesses are meeting there anyway, and work out something with him, and maybe even make him.
Something that we
Chamber
could
of
look
Commerce.
into.
It would help, I think. Something needs to get done. There's plenty of property on Main Street that we can, pretty up and.
So just when you schedule those meetings, make sure it's not on a Wednesday.
Absolutely. And back to what Diane was saying about the BA thing, whatever you decide with her, whatever. I'd like to again suggest that we move to a part-time BA. I honestly, I really just don't see why this town needs a full-time BA. South River, who has many more businesses and much more, it's a bigger town, bigger infrastructure. They're working with a part-time BA. The people I've spoken to on that side have said that it worked well. I'm sure other towns that are much bigger than us are also doing it. So I don't see why we couldn't do it. Or even no BA and hire an HR person, which is half the job anyway, and hire a part-time HR person. Somebody who knows HR rules, so you won't have to have an HR lawyer. So save some money there too. Thank you.
Thank you.